Hi guys. So, think we're live, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So if anyone's there, let me know if you can see me and hear me and all that good stuff. And I've got the comments on my phone so I can see what anyone says. So yeah, good morning guys, if you can hear me out there. I know it's just turned 9, so we'll give it a few minutes for people to log on and find us. Hi Caroline, cool. Hi Emma, you alright guys? Glad you can see me and hear me. That's fantastic. It's a good start. You never know with technology, do you? So yeah, got a few watching. Hi Leanie. Hi Kathy. So we'll give everyone a few minutes to find it if they want to find us. And we'll be going through a little bit of information, basic information about rally today, Kennel Club Rally, and you know, but if you are sort of a seasoned rally competitor, there might still be something in this for you, because I'll also be talking about my experience and why rally is so cool. So yeah, and if you're new to rally, then hopefully this will give you a basic of, you know, what it's all about, how it all works, how to get started, and hopefully it'll be enjoyable. Hi Jane. So apparently there's 14 people watching, which is good. That's a good start. That's what we like. Hi Bev. So you'll have to excuse me supping me tea. For anyone that's not in the UK, it's 9 in the morning, so everyone's a bit sluggish at this time, I think. So yeah, cool. So we'll get started, and if there's anyone that wants to find it and catches in later, then that's awesome. So yeah, so before we sort of get into things, has anyone here, I mean, I recognise a few names from the comments, but has anyone here done rally before? Has anyone here not tried it but wants to? Is anyone sort of just curious about what on earth rally is about? Let me know in the comments sort of where you are on the spectrum of rally and taking part or not, or being interested. And if there's anyone that's not tried rally and is sort of considering it, definitely let me know. Sometimes there is a bit of a delay on the comments, guys. I think there's about a minute's lag. Yeah, so Caroline's done rally before. That's awesome. That's what we like. So yeah, so while these comments come in, you've never tried it before, Emma, but you're curious. Brilliant. So hopefully, you know, we can convert you a little bit, get you into it a little bit today, which is good. Fingers crossed. And while the comments come in, I'll just sort of explain who I am. So my name's Stridgeon, and I work with my colleague at Fit Dogs Club, and we do rally training and puppy training, good sits, all that good stuff. And I am a rally judge. I've been a chief steward as well. And I train rally, and I compete in rally. I have a FDSC in canine behaviour and training, and I'm working towards my BSc in canine behaviour management, which is very exciting. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. qualified rally judge, chief steward, all that good stuff. So Kathy, you've never tried it but interested. Jane Potter, 3 years rally, but mostly for fun rather than competition. Yeah, cool, no worries. So you might be getting a bit more, I'm guessing if you're watching this, you might be thinking about getting a bit more on the competitive side, which is always good fun. So we'll switch over to a nice screen with some cute dogs, because I'm sure you've had enough looking at my mug already. So yeah, so again, I'm a trainer, chief steward, and I compete in rally and judge. So if you've got any questions about rally now or during or at the end, feel free to ask them. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, and if I can't get you an answer, I am sure I'll be able to find out. There's some good links in the description of different places you can go for more info after this if you're interested. But any questions, just bob them in the comments. So yeah, so rally is really enjoyable, and I sort of got into rally with my Stafford Apollo there when he was a puppy. He did his puppy class and he did a bit of good sits, a bit of this and that, and then it was like, well, where do you go? He's got his good sits. What's next? And I didn't come from a dog family particularly. My dad did a bit of gun dog work and things like that, but we weren't from a doggy family. I've not got parents or aunties and uncles that did rally or obedience or agility or anything like that. So I had no idea of where to go next with his training. I just knew that what I'd done so far, I was really enjoying it, and I wanted to carry on. So where we went originally with Julie, she sort of steered us into rally, and we really enjoyed it. We've tried lots of other sports. He's trained lots of other sports, but there's just something about rally, the variety, the inclusiveness, how fun it is, and in my area, how friendly and social it is. You go to a show and everyone's there to support each other, and it's because you compete against yourself. It's not it's not like daggers, because you're not really in competition with other people particularly. It's more competing against yourself, which I'll go into a bit more. So yeah, so we started on rally and we have just continued enjoying it. One of the things I really like about rally is how there's not so much pressure. It's not it is time, there is a time limit, but it's not like a short time. You can take your time, go around course, I would say so. So, there's not a lot of pressure in that aspect. And there's not, for example, I know in obedience you have the steward following you, giving you direction. It's all at your own pace, so you read the signs and you do things as you come to them. So there's less sort of pressure that way as well, which was really good for me, because when I first started in rally, I suffered quite badly with social anxiety. But bit by bit, you get out there and you do a small competition, you might do bits and bobs, and it really has helped my confidence. Because before I started doing rally, I would never have been able to do something like this. And especially Crofts. So I competed at Crofts as well. And after Crofts, I'm sure everyone that knows me can testify, after Crofts my self-confidence just went through the roof, rather than being very unconfident. So yeah, so I really like rally for the human side as well as the dog side, but we'll get into that more, the dog side, as we go on now. So here's just to let you know who we've got at home. So rally came from the idea of watching obedience warm up. So before you go in the ring of obedience, people might be doing a little bit of warming up. Maybe they're doing a spinny, a little send around, a finish, lots of different exercises. You might be running through some static, so you might be going from your sit to your down to your stand, whatever you might be doing to warm your dog up for an obedience round. And the idea came from that, and it was kind of to get a bit of a resurgence going in obedience type sports, because there was a bit of a drop off back then, and it was the late 90s, early 2000s that rally was sort of developed in America, and then it came over to the UK. There are a number of UK rally organisations. There's Talking Dog. There's even like Rally Free, which is a mix of freestyle and rally. There's loads. But today we're going to focus on KC Rally. So the rules are specific to that I'm going to discuss. However, the benefits are honestly pretty similar with all the, the similar kinds of rally. I would say the benefits probably extend to those as well. So I'll have a little bit of an explain about what we've got here. So this is a rally course map, and I've just got that as sort of an example of to give you a visual of what a rally course might sort of look like. Now, this is what a judge would sort of use to plan their course, and it would be sent to a chief steward who would take a little look at it and okay it all with the rules and regs. So as you can see, this is a level 2 course. We've got a start, we've got a call from forward right, and we've got a nice flowing course all the way round. And you would sort of have 10 to 18 exercises per course, and this depends on the level you're competing at. So if you're level 1, you might have sort of 10 to 12 exercises, less exercises. And if you're at the top level, level 6, you could have quite a bit more. And this has changed recently as well. The rules and regs sort of update every year to sort of keep going with the times. And recently there's been a big overhaul of the signs to make them much more progressive. So if you're looking at some of these signs and you've done rally maybe a few years ago, you might think that these look a bit odd, and that's probably because they are the new signs included in this. So that's a level 2 course, just to give you an idea, and here's a little level 3 course. So you can see the progression. So you start out with a short course, quite simple, and then as you get higher up the levels, you get more complex. So here we've got a bit of a straight line, and then you're turning back on yourself here with a sit about, turn right and forward. You've got a moving stand, and you can see how twisty it gets. Really, really twisty the higher up you get. So you really can progress with your dog's skills and abilities. It really does nicely lead up. There's not big leaps between the levels, but you do get an increase in difficulty nice and gradually. You can sort of miss the bonus sign at the end, which we'll come to in a minute. So, but as you can see, they do get quite lengthy. So you have signs for each level in rally. So if you're doing level 1, you will only have level 1 signs. However, the signs do then go level 1 and above. So if you're doing level 2, you'll have level 1 and 2 signs. If you're doing level 6, then you'll have a choice of the whole lot, and there are a lot of rally signs. So just to give you a bit of an idea, just some examples of some nice ones here. So this is a call front, turn left or right. So your dog does a call front, like in obedience, or if your dog was doing a recall, say in good sits, and then you would turn backwards, left or right, and your dog would sit in front again. And then we've got a send around pole, loop to heel. Now this is quite a nice one, and it mostly comes from like heel work to music type exercises or tricks. So it's basically you send your dog out and round an object. So it will be about 1.5 meters away, maybe a bit more, and you would send your dog out and round, and then they would return to you. Down on the move, leave dog, so you can see the obedience influence there. And then a left turn, heel back, so that's your dog's heeling as you walk backwards. So quite a fancy skill. Recall through distractions, so just think Temptation Alley basically, but they can't get to the food or the toys, and they have recently changed it so there won't actually be food in the bowls. It will just be empty food bowls. Which I think is really awesome, because you just don't know if a dog's got an allergy or anything like that. Figure of 8, so you're doing a bit of heel work through some cones. Left about turn. Some people might know that like as the Schnutzhund turn in like an old-fashioned way. So your dog goes one way and you go the other. And then you've got a angled recall over jump. So that is quite an advanced sign, and it is quite an interesting one. So rally isn't easy. The lower levels are gentle to get you into it, but rally as a sport on the whole is not easy. There are some signs that test. So you'd sit and leave your dog in a way, and you would go in a straight line, turn and face your dog. You would send them out over the jump, and then they would come back and sit nice and straight in front of you. So I can see you've got a comment. So you'll have to visual cues. Yeah. Yes, I was going to come to that, but we can talk through it now. Definitely, Emma. So yeah, so I was going to say later on, one of the reasons I really like rally is because you can use verbal and visual cues, which is partly what makes it so inclusive. So you can use a visual cue and a verbal cue at the same time. So, for example, Emma, say you want to tell your dog to sit, you can say sit, and then that's it. You can't sort of say sit, because they're not at the same time. Does that make sense? So you can give a visual and a verbal cue, so long as they're given at the same time. If they're given separately, so if you say down and there's a few seconds delay and then you give a signal, that's an additional cue which would lose points for, which we'll come to in a minute. So yeah, you can use visual and verbal cues, which is really, really nice. It's nice because there are a few dogs that are deaf that compete in rally, and there is a dog that is visually impaired as well. So it really gives you a lot of options. It's not sort of you've got to use a verbal cue, which is I find really awesome, because obviously that would knock out deaf dogs. So it's really nice, I think, that we can use both. Real, no worries, cool. And obviously most dogs do find it a little bit easier to go with a visual cue. So I'll get rid of my mug for a bit, and you can just look at the slides. So yeah, any more questions, guys, feel free to ask. So in rally, you've also got bonus signs. Now the way this works is they are optional. So you can do your round, and if you think things are going really, really well, you might think, right, I'll give the bonus a try. However, if you think, oh, this is going really, really badly, and the next sign is one that my dog's not very good at, you can actually just leave the bonus. So in rally, there are 200 points, and you will lose points for like little errors, which I'll go through in a moment. However, the bonus, you can gain an extra 10 points. You can NQ on a bonus, so you can non-qualify on a bonus if you do certain things, say your dog runs out the ring or fouls or whatever it might be. However, you can't lose more than 10 points on a bonus. So it usually is beneficial to give the bonus a try, because unless your dog does something like runs out the ring or goes to the toilet, you can't lose more than you gain. Let me know if that makes sense for you guys that haven't done rally before. And we can have a little discussion of some bonus signs. So here's a few examples I picked out. There's bonus signs for each level and above. So here we've got a call front, side step left or right. So this is a level 1 bonus. So you sit your dog in front, you take a step to the side, and you sit again. And the nice thing about level 1 is level 1 and 2 are on lead, and the levels above are off. However, the level 1 bonus signs can be done on lead. There's no leaving your dog. You don't even have to let go of contact with the actual lead. So there's no point where you have to tell your dog to sit and wait, put the lead on the floor, or take it off, optional, whichever. So you can do level 1 of rally completely on lead, which I think is really ideal. If you're not 100% sure about how your dog deals with distractions, maybe you're a nervous handler. I know that when I first started I was, even though I'd done all the training with my dog and all the preparation, getting him used to distractions and going to training classes and different stuff, I was still incredibly nervous of, oh, he's gonna run away, to the distractions or whatever it might be. So just to reassure you guys that have never done rally, the level 1, including the bonus signs, you can keep hold of the lead. So there we go. So then we've got a directed centre map, which is another bonus. And this is one of the newer ones that we've just had in. So you'll leave your dog in a sit next to, sort of a couple of metres away from the map, next to it though, facing you. And you will come away from your dog and face them, and you will send them across to the map. So it's a little bit like a directed send to. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that in other sports, but it's quite a fun one. And then we've got a backup, call front, backup 3 steps. So your dog comes in front of you and they walk backwards. So you can see again, maybe a little bit of a heel whip to music kind of influence there, walking backwards. Quite an enjoyable one. Sit, send back, retrieve. So like it says, it's a send back, retrieve. So your dog's going to go backwards to the retrieve article. So I'm sure you can see a bit of an influence there of maybe gun dog stuff. And then we've got a distance control sign. And we do have a few distance control signs in rally. So this is just one example. So a sit, leave dog, and a turn and a stand. And then another sort of static on the move. So a down on the move, leave dog, turn, return. So yeah, there's some examples of some bonus signs. Has anyone got any questions from that? Anything they want to ask about any of those signs, or anything about any of the other signs you kind of get? We do also in rally have pace changes. So fast pace, slow pace, sit, fast forward. We have a number of call fronts and finishes and forwards. So unlike obedience, where you want sort of the dog to sit when you halt, most of the time, sometimes you want your dog to come to heel position and stand until you obviously set off. We've got a lot of turns like 360 right, 360 left. We do have pivots in rally as well. So for those of you guys that might like the sort of precision element, there is that there too. We've got unique signs like spirals, which is going around cones. Weave through distractions. We've got call to heels. We've got instant statics like you walking along in heel, you ask your dog to stand and they stand, or down and they down. And like I say, we've got distance control signs. We've got jumps, distraction. So that's just a little bit about the signs, a little bit of a basic overview of the rules. So we're going to have a bit of a chat now about point deductions. And as you can see, we've got some very sad dogs that have had their points deducted. So yeah, so like I said earlier, you start off with 200 points and you lose points. You can lose them for various sort of reasons, and you tend to sort of see a bit of you do see a bit of a sort of trend of why people lose points. So as a judge, the most common things people lose points for are tight lead. So like it sounds, level 1 and 2, when you're on lead and the lead goes tight, you lose 1 point. Another thing that people commonly lose points for is lack of attention. So maybe your dog's sort of staring in the distance at another dog outside the ring. Maybe someone's warming up and your dog's sort of having a good look and not listening to you. Then you might lose a point for that, which would be 2 points you would lose. Additional cues you would lose points for. So like we said earlier, if you have to ask your dog to sit twice, you'll lose points. You can also lose points for excessive barking and jumping. So, if your dog's jumping up, if your dog's barking the whole way around, around, you can lose points. So in some sports, I know in agility and flyball, your dog can bark. It's fine. It's part of what they do. However, in rally, similarly to like Hewitt's music, if your dog is barking a lot, you will lose points for that. The nice thing about rally, however, is that there is a nice sort of gradient in the points you lose. So if your dog sits slightly out of position, you'll lose 1 point. If they sit a little bit more out of position, you might lose 2 or 3. So it's not sort of a blanket point deduction of, oh, your dog sat a little bit wonky, off you go, lose 3 points. You can have small errors and still get really, really good scores. So just to reassure you guys. You can also be NQ'd for things like nipping and mouthing. So if your dog sort of really takes a chunk out of you, if they leave the ring, if they foul, things like that. So, progression. So, unlike some other sports, it doesn't rely on wins or places to move up the levels. You can actually enter 2 levels at a time. So you can enter the lowest level you're eligible for. So for example, if you've never done it, you'll enter level 1. And you can also enter the level above, so level 2. And you compete in both at the same time if you want. However, you can just compete in the one level that you're eligible for, so level 1. It can be good to compete in 2 levels if your dog is ready for the higher levels and you just want to get up there, get to some nice complex courses. That's cool. However, if you are brand new to rally and brand new to training in general, or you've got a very novice dog, you may want to sort of be smart about what you enter. So people can jump levels, and what I mean by that is you could enter level 1 and 2 and maybe you don't qualify in your level 1 competitions. However, you could qualify in your level 2 rounds and you would then not be eligible for level 1 or 2 and you would have to compete in level 3 and above. Which sounds great because you're getting up there fast, and it is ideal if you've got a good bit of training on your dog. However, if you have got a young or novice dog, or you're brand new, I just caution against that because you can end up very quickly off lead. So level 3 is off lead, and if you've skipped levels, you might have only done 3 competitions, and then your dog's suddenly off lead. Now, some dogs are really, really fine with that, whereas some, they might need that bit more ring experience before you sort of feel, you and them feel confident to do the off-lead rounds. So, and there is also rally warrants available now, which is brand new, literally brand new. If you want to gain a rally warrant, you have to get a qualification. You have to finish each level. You can't skip levels and get a rally warrant at this time. And I say at this time because the rally warrant is very, very new. So just to caution you guys that if you want a rally warrant, you might want to skip levels. However, if you've got a dog that's experienced, you might just want to get up there, which is fine. We do often find that the higher classes are smaller in number. You get a lot of people in level 1 and 2, and even quite a few in level 3, but not as many. And then there tends to be a drop-off. And it is sort of, there's no answer. Is it because people get bored as they get higher up the levels? I would think not, because there's new signs at every level. Or is it because people have gone up the levels quite quickly and are now a little bit stuck? There is a big drop-off of competitors at level 3. And it's no coincidence that that's the level you suddenly off lead. So don't be in a rush to rush up levels. If you want to do 2 levels at a time, go for it. And don't feel pressured if you don't want to. So you need 3 excellent scores, which is 190 or above, to move up the levels, and you need 6 qualifying scores from 4 different judges to move up. So if you get quite a high score of 190 or above, you only need 3. If you qualify but it's not excellent, you need 6. Excellence titles can be gained with 3 excellent scores at a level. So if you get 190 or above 3 times, you will get an excellence title, and you can put sort of RL 1EX after your dog's name, so that's quite nice. To qualify in levels 1 to 4, you need 175 or above, and in the highest levels you do need 180 or above. So you can see that the standard there is just a little bit higher. We just expect a little bit more. So we're getting to the fun bit now. So why rally? So rally is really, really cool. It's got lots of elements of different sports. So like I said earlier, you've got things like a send back retrieve, you've got things like going around pole, you've got circles around the handler, like a moving send around. There's lots of different elements, which makes it really, really, it doesn't get boring. There's a good variety. There's so much to train. It's not just like, you've got your 6 standard exercises to train and that's it. Or you've got, you've got so many pieces of equipment to train. You've really got a lot of variety, a lot of different things to go at, which is, it does keep humans and dogs interested. You tend to get nice flowing courses. There is a limit on how many statics a judge can put in a course. So you won't sort of come to do a course and have a sit and a down and then a sit and a down and then a pivot and then a stand and a sit or whatever. You won't have that sort of stop-start. There is a limit to how many statics can be put in, which keeps the courses nice and flowing. So you do get statics and you do get stationary kind of signs, but you also get a good mix of moving signs. So it's nice, like I say, nice and fluid. And rally is really, really accessible. It's accessible to humans and dogs. So as we said before, a little bit about the cues. You can use a visual and a verbal. So if your dog is visually impaired or they can't hear very well or they're completely deaf, you can still do rally. If you've got a dog that's deaf or visually impaired, you can still do it, as long as your dog is, they're happy in the environment of rally, of course. For humans, it's super accessible. So obviously I spoke a little bit earlier about my personal experience. So, I used to have really bad anxiety when I started rally, but it's so relaxed and friendly, and you take the course at your own pace. There's no pressure from a judge or a steward, or there's no clock. There is a clock, but it's not like a ticking away like, say, an agility round, seeing if you're under 30 seconds or whatever it might be. So it's so much less pressure, and also if you've got sort of a physical disability, you can still compete in rally. We do have exercise modification request forms. So as a judge, I've judged a few people that have got balance issues. I've judged a couple of wheelchair users, and they've done absolutely fantastic, of course. But we can make sort of small alterations. So if you need to fit a wheelchair round a course, the judge can receive an exercise modification request form, and we can make sure that you've got turning space. So we can make sure you've got enough room to manoeuvre a wheelchair. We can make the cone gaps in spirals or weaves big enough for you to fit through. If you do have sort of balance issues or anything like that, we can sort of make sure that we're aware that you might not do a super tight turn. We don't want anyone losing the balance. And if you are visually impaired, you can have a caller. So you can have someone to help you, know what signs you're doing next. So If you have got a dog that's got maybe some sort of, something that you think, oh, well, he or she will never do sport because he's deaf or he's whatever it might be, don't count yourself out. Rally is very inclusive, and it's honestly, it's so welcoming of all different kinds of dogs and people. It's quite nice as well because there is challenge for the handler in Rally. It's, you've really got to work out the signs, and we can get link signs. So that is where you've got two signs that are sort of side by side or within a couple of meters of each other, and the lead from one to the other, and there's a crossover of elements. So if you've got a sit down sit and a sit stand, they would share the sit in the middle. And if you have link signs, you can have a few together, and it can become quite a challenge for the handler to work out what's next. Also, as you get higher up the levels, particularly sort of when you start getting to level 4, the courses can be quite tricky and hard to work out. So it's gonna be, it's not just on the dog. Can the dog do, what is required? It is also on the handler, which keeps things interesting. And of course, when you first start out, you have got to learn the signs. So yeah, it keeps your brain ticking over, that's for sure. Rally is also really, really fun. So there's like I said before, there's lots of different signs, lots of moving signs. There's lots of things that most dogs find fun. So some dogs find jumps fun. We do have jumps in Rally. Some dogs find being sent around objects, so a run around an object fun, being sent to bed, maybe a retrieve, send around the human. There's lots of things that are quite enjoyable. And there are fun ways to train Rally. There tends to be a bit of a few years ago, there tended to be a bit of a culture of kind of, you just practice the signs and you practice courses and that's it. Which is fine. And some handlers and dogs really, really thrive on that kind of training. However, I know that my dogs would find that extremely repetitive, to just practice signs and courses all the time. And don't get me wrong, there is a place for that. However, there are different ways you can train things. So maybe you've got your dog on a stool and you're working on some rear end awareness, going around a stool for your turns. Maybe you're out at the park and you're sending your dog around trees to do your send around. Obviously, your retrieve can be trained lots of different ways. You can really have fun with that. So there are different ways to train Rally. It's not just, formal, you've got to do the signs exactly as are. So it is good fun. We try and keep our classes sort of that we do quite, we don't do the same thing every week, something new every week. We use a variety of different ways to train things to keep it interesting. Like I said earlier, there is a good variety of exercises. Here on the left, we've got Apollo with his retrieve, and then we've got Kasha on the right doing a jump, and then we've got a bit of a recall there, and we do also have distance control and Rally. However, that is a recall. We do also have walk-arounds, so your dog's in a sit-down stand, and you do a circle around them, and they wait. And there's Apollo on his... So he's doing a bit of a walk backwards there. So, a common thing I hear with dog sports, and it's quite sad that even places like Crofts, when I was at Crofts as a spectator, I did sort of, are we still on? Yeah, I think we're still on. Yeah, we're still on. Cool. So I've just seen there's a few comments, so I'll catch up. I think there was a bit of a delay for me then on the comments. So how many levels are there? So there's 6 levels, Kathy. God, all these comments have just come through. I'm so sorry, guys. So yeah, there's 6 levels, Kathy. Level 1 and 2 are on lead, and the rest of the levels are off. Can you mix excellent and qualifying scores, or is it just 3 or 6? So you can do, you say your first 3 scores, Jane, are, if your following 3 are excellent, you will get an excellent, and the next 3 are excellent, you will get an excellent qualification and move up. However, you can't get 6 normal qualifiers and stay in the level to gain an excellent. Does that make sense, Jane? So you can't sort of get your qualifier and then hang around and keep doing the level to try and get an excellent. Does that make sense? So Emma, you said, just thinking of doing rally. Brilliant, fantastic. I've ordered signs from level 1. As you said, lots for the handler to learn. Yes. When you've done it for a while, I mean, I've done rally for what? I've only done rally for 6 years, which doesn't actually sound that long now, I'll say it. But you get to a point where you do the sign so many times, and eventually you don't even read the sign anymore, which is probably bad, to be honest, and it's probably why I have some mistakes sometimes. However, the point still stands that you do get to a point eventually where you'll do the round and you'll see the sign, and just from the way it looks in the first word, you know what it is and you know what you're doing. So you do eventually go on to kind of an autopilot with the signs, and you do really learn them in the end. And I'll make sure I keep refreshing now, guys, because I did miss a few comments there. So if you've got any more questions, feel free to ask, guys. So yeah, so my dog can't do that. So that is something that I've heard, sadly, when I've seen people watching different sports. They'll say, oh, well, my dog's not that fast, or my dog can't jump like that, or my dog can't, it might be heel work or whatever it might be. My dog can't do that. The nice thing with rally is the variety. So as you can see, I've used heel work and positioning as a bit of an example here. So as you can see, all these are acceptable. So all these positions are okay. So we've got Scout on the top left there, doing his nice down, and as you can see, he's nice and close and focused to his handler, but he's not necessarily touching them, which is fine. And then we've got little Bella there. There's a little bit of distance between her and a handler. That's fine. We've got my puppy Zephyr there, and he's looking at me. He's attentive, but again, he's not super close. And then we've got Root up there, who is she's focusing on a handler, and again she's not right up against the handler, which is fine. However, if you are someone that is coming from another sport, maybe you're coming from competitive obedience, or maybe you're someone like me, I really like things to look certain ways, and I'm quite I like precision. I enjoy the challenge of getting my dog to do something quite in a particular way that I enjoy. So you can see Apollo on the bottom right, and he is my Stafford, and as you can see, he is quite attentive and he is quite close. So if you enjoy that, you can actually have your dog work close to you. You can have your dog do things, as precise or as relaxed as you like. So it is pretty much for anyone, and you will not suffer because your dog is a little bit further away than someone else's dog. It's not marked like that. Your heel work can be within an arm's length either way. So as long as you can touch your dog, you're okay. And you can qualify without perfection. You don't have to be perfect. And you compete against yourself as well. So you're not sort of against the person after you. There's no sort of, oh, well, they've done better than me, blah, blah, blah. It's about you and your dog enjoying the course and doing the best you can. So just because someone else's dog has got lots of training experience and they're extremely smart at this, that, and the other, it doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, we've got out of position, moderately out of position, significantly out of position. So there is a range of deductions. It's not sort of like a one catch all, oh, your dog's a tiny bit out of position, that's it. We do grade things so it is fair that, how big the error is will be taken into account when you're being judged. And judging is I mean, all judging is going to have an element of subjectivity. However, we do have scoring guidelines for judges. So it will not be a case of, oh, I like the look of that dog best. That dog looks the fanciest. That's my favourite breed. They're going to get the best score. So even if you've got, you know, a dog who you're not sure about is going to look, you know, oh, they're not going to look fancy, that's fine. It really doesn't matter with rally. And judges that are, you know, they've got good experience and they understand how rally is, they should take into account your dog's conformation as well. So, for example, sight hounds, they might look a little bit different when they do a sit or a down. That's okay. You know, you might have a short breed. You might have a little Jack Russell Terrier. That's maybe appropriate actually, Jack Russell Terrier. But you might have a small little Jack Russell, and it might do heel work slightly different to a collie. That is absolutely fine. The judge will take that into account. So a little bit about breed variety, just for anyone that's sort of watching this and thinking, well, I don't have a whatever dog it might be. So yeah, just catching up on the comments again. Where can we find demonstrations of the exercises? But I can't find explanations of what the exercises mean. Yes, so Amy, what I'll do after the after this presentation, I'll pop a few links in the comments. I'm going to pop a few links in the comments of my dog competing at a normal rally competition. So you can see sort of an example of a dog competing, what the actual ring would look like, what the setup's like, where the judges stood, what the distractions are like, how the course is laid out. And I've also posted some links in the description to a site called Rally News. And on there, you'll find the signs that you can download and look at. And there are descriptions of the signs, so you can read the descriptions. However, if you can find a local trainer, that is another good option. So yeah, any more questions, guys, feel free to ask. So, breed variety. So I just wanted to get into the fact that lots of different breeds can compete in rally. Here on the top left, we've got Bella, who is a Papillon, and she has done amazing with her rally career. She's such a bouncy little dog. She's so sweet and excitable, and she really, really enjoys it. And she's the kind of dog where, you know, you can see that she enjoys it because she does. She bounces along, and it's really joyful, and it's so nice to see. And you know, your small breed dogs can excel in rally. They can do really well. We've got Dolly here on the bottom left, and she is a fabulous, fabulous Shih Tzu. And she has only got one eye. So like I said earlier, rally is very, very inclusive to dogs and handlers. So I did have a bit of a chat, and Dolly's mum said that she wasn't the easiest dog to start with. However, she likes to show off, and they have found rally a fun bonding experience. And then we've got Ted on the bottom right. Teddy enjoys the variety of rally and doesn't do repetition. He learns the good and bad equally fast, which is not surprising considering he is a Kelpie cross Huntway. And we do have some breeds that you might not expect to see in the ring as well. So on the left we've got Root and Jill. So Root is an Estrella, and Jill, I'm paraphrasing here, but Jill said that the challenge with Root and Estrellas in general is to keep the motivation going. However, it's hugely rewarding to succeed and change people's opinions about what the breed can't do. And on the right we've got Svetlana, who's a Samoyed, and she said that as the breed is generally easily bored, the rally, you know, the variety is really good for that kind of dog that can't do repetition. Leanie described the breed as giddy and needing a patient approach. But if you make the training joyful, they will enjoy it. A true partnership there, which is, it's lovely to see handlers and dogs enjoying our sport. Yeah, no worries, Amy. Don't worry. I'll post loads of links in the comments after, with loads of info. And if you have got any, you know, if you do want to ask any extra questions. You can always comment after. If you think of anything else, I'll still be, I'll be keeping an eye on the thread. So yeah, competing at Crofts in Rally. So this is Apollo, who I competed at Crofts in Rally with, the inaugural Crofts, the first rally at Crofts actually. And it was an amazing experience. And I just thought I'd put that in there because rally is at Crofts, and if you get the opportunity to go, it's fantastic. There are tryouts, and there is a team for each area, each sort of region. And you do get an individual score and a team score, and it really is a fun event because, like I say, it's teamwork, but it's a nice chance for you to sort of highlight how good your dog is and how good your training is, and how much you and your dog enjoy rally. So yeah, there are opportunities to compete at Crofts in rally. And before I went in the rally ring, I was almost having a panic attack. I was in the collecting ring and I was wobbling a little bit, and my team manager Julie sort of took hold of me and said, "Right, you've got to do this." And off I went in there, and it it went really well, and it wasn't that bad. It was actually really enjoyable. So if you do ever get the opportunity to try it out for Crofts Rally, please go for it, especially if you've got a different breed, because it is nice to get that representation out there, and it makes the team managers' jobs a little easier, as there are only so many sort of collies and collie mixes that they can put in a team. So starting out in rally, so you can do a lot of your training at home. Like I say, you can pop on the Rally News website, and there are descriptions of the signs, so you might be able to get a bit of an idea of what's expected. However, some of the signs are complicated, and some of them don't sound like what they look like, if that makes sense. They don't look like what they are, I should say. So it is always a good idea to find a trainer, if you can find a good trainer nearby that does rally. And I will post a link to help you guys find a local trainer. And if you can't travel for any reason, particularly with COVID, there are quite a few people doing it online. Another good thing to do is, if you can, helping out at shows is really good, especially scribing. If you scribe, basically what you're doing is you're stood with a judge. You don't really need any experience, to be honest. But you stand with the judge, and the judge will sort of explain what the handler and dog are losing marks for. And this really gives you a snapshot into what the judges are looking for. So I might say, have a handler and dog going around the ring, and I'll be saying tight lead, I'll be saying out of position, I'll be saying FSD, which is failure to sit, stand down, or wait. And it'll give you a good idea of what's going on. So if you can scribe at a show, that is a great way to start. I've got some links there on some different bits and bobs about rally, but I'll post those in the comments after. You can title your dog in rally. You can have ordinary titles, excellence titles, and rally warrants. So a rally warrant, which is new, you're going to need a title in all levels, a level 6 excellence titles, and 3 additional excellences at level 6. So that's a total of 6 excellent scores at the highest level. So a rally warrant is there now. So even if you're in level 6, going. So yeah, so that's it, which is good actually, because it's pretty much time. So I've talked away there, and we're pretty much at time, and it has gone pretty quick, that. So if anyone wants any extra information on rally, just let me know, and I'll bob some stuff in the comments. If you got, I'm not sure if there are still slots yet left for this, but if Ruby does another one of these, we can always go into a bit more detail on the individual signs, if anyone would enjoy that. But thank you so much, Ruby, for asking me to do this, and thank you to you guys that have watched as well. I know it's a bit more sport orientated, A bit less sciencey. We've had some very clever people on, which I've really enjoyed watching. So a little bit less sciencey, I'm afraid. So I'll just go through. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm just gonna bob through the comments quickly just to check I've not missed anything, because my phone has been a bit delayed, I think, today. So how many levels? 6 levels, if I've not answered that already. Yeah, that answered your question, Jane. Fantastic. How do you qualify for Crofts? No worries, I can answer that. Amy. No worries. So what will happen is, if you've got a little bit of experience in a level, then you can sort of, you'll jot that. Most obviously, I've only got experience with the northern team because I'm in the north. However, I would imagine that the process isn't too dissimilar anywhere else. So if you've got a little bit of experience, you'll jot on a little application form, what scores you've achieved at what rallies and when. And then they do tryouts. Now, if you're looking at competing at Crofts soon, I'm not sure how those are working with COVID. However, the rally this year at Crofts, I do believe, is cancelled. So which gives you guys lots of time to get into rally and get to Crofts next year. So I expect to be seeing you all there. So you might do an application form and put down your scores, your qualifiers when you got them. And then you will have tryouts as well. Now, the northern team tryouts, we do all sorts of weird things. When I tried out, they encouraged people to sit near the ring, because obviously at Crofts there will be lots of distractions. And there was a small baby near the ring. I think it something like a year or 2 years old, very, very young baby in a pram, right near the ringside when I was working Apollo, and it threw the baby bottle at him as he was working. And he sort of looked at the baby and the baby bottle that had been thrown at him, and he just continued to do his rally, which was really, really good. But yeah, that is a bit of an out there one, so normally it won't be that intense. However, they will put music on, so it's a bit loud. They will encourage the other people that are trying out for rally will probably be encouraged to stay in the venue, just so you've got distractions of dogs. And it's just to make sure that your dog can cope with the environment of Crofts. Because if you guys have done showing or whatever, or agility or obedience, and you've done any of that Crofts, you'll know how busy the environment is. So it should be an application form and tryouts. So does that answer that for you, Amy? You have a bulldog who competes in flyball, but I'm retiring, so I think this will be good for him. Just need a trainer. I think he's a challenge. Oh, bless him. Yes, lots of retired agility, flyball, lots of retired dogs from those kind of sports do rally. It is really, really nice for keeping the brains active, keeping them going, new challenges, really, really good as dogs get older. And it sounds like you do really well. I'll post links in the comments to help you find trainers. Oh, no worries, Neris. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Good, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Kathy. Thank you, Caroline. Brilliant. Good, Emma. I can't wait to see all you guys on the rally circuit. Jane, no worries. Good, glad it's motivated you, Emma. How many reactive dogs compete? So, yeah, there is actually, obviously, it depends on how reactive and the dog's comfort level, obviously. However, there are some dogs which are somewhat reactive that compete in rally. Some venues are outside, so some venues do have lots of space if you've got a reactive dog. And it's not unseen and it's not uncommon. And people are generally very respectful, Emma. What I would say is, if you have got a reactive dog, watch a local show and see what you think of the environment. And you can enter your dog not for competition. So if your dog's sort of been a reactive dog and they've improved a lot and you're thinking, right, they could actually cope with that environment, you can enter not for competition, and sort of see how they do without the pressure of, oh, I've paid for an entry and I've got to compete. And entering not for competition is free. So if you have got, you just have to enter them not for competition. If you have got a reactive dog, don't be put off. And if anybody does want to sort of have a bit of a chat about, that kind of thing, you can bob it in the comments or send me a message, whatever. I'm quite happy to chat rally. As you can see, for the hour we've sat here, I would chat rally all day. So yeah. I thought I'd best show my face again. So I'll bob some bits in the comments. I'll bob some links for you guys to find trainers. There are some links in the description, but I'll bob some more in. I'll link in some videos of people competing at Crofts, because on YouTube, or you can just search it on YouTube. There are a few videos of Crofts rally rounds, so that really gives you an idea of the exercises. And I'll bob a couple of videos of my dogs competing at actual rallies, because obviously Crofts environment is very different to your normal rally. So I'll bob some videos like that in as well. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I had better dash off because I've overdone my slot. I think it's just gone 10. So yeah, so I hope to see you guys on the rally circuit. So take care, guys. Bye. See you later.